Today, boys and girls, we're cooking brake lines from scratch and trying not to frost them with fuel along the way. Even though some of you know already, let me give you a quick overview of what I do. You know that line in Star Trek where Bones says to Jim, Jim, you did what you always do. You turned death into a fighting chance at life. That kind of describes what I do pretty well. Because if this car showed up to, well, let's call it a regular shop, they would refuse to service it more than likely, saying that it's a liability if they even work on it because there's so many things wrong with it. And their suggestion would be send it to the junkyard. And if there's anybody out there who works in a shop, feel free to comment and back me up. This is what $800 and $1,000 brake jobs, this is how they happen. Because when you take it in, they want to not only fix the problem, which was leaking right here, they want to do everything because they don't want to be liable because of stuff like that. The reality of the situation for me is, and the customer, how far are you willing to go to keep the old girl going, and how much are you willing to spend? And where I come in is how much are you working with at the moment? Because I could do all this. I could have replaced all of this whole rear system, all the lines, made them myself, just like I made them new ones that are on there. But that costs money, and I'm not giving the whole thing away for $200 when what I did, replacing all of the rear brake lines, the main ones, front to rear, is worth $200. So you do what you can. And hopefully along the way you're smart enough to realize that you don't get to do it like the shop would do it. If it was at a shop, you'd tear all this old shit out and you'd replace everything. And you see them big lines right there? Those are fuel lines. And the minute I start messing with any of that, now we got a fuel leak, and that's more expense. So you got to work around that stuff and know how to do it or be able to do it so that it's safe, the customer's happy, and your repair will more than likely outlast the life of the car. That's how this works. Because as an example, this thing has way more, see, that's what rust does, way more serious issues than the fact that the pedal was getting soft because the brake line in the back was leaking. So in the end, I suppose it kind of sounds kind of funny, but what I do is fabricate functional art that'll never be seen. Or if it is seen, it won't be understood. Everything, when you get to this point in the car repair world, is up to artists' interpretation. Because going back to what it was and how they made it just is not practical anymore. So could I make a channel like Vice Grip Garage, run around out in the woods, starting up old cars and trucks from the 30s and 40s and whenever? Sure could. I know about magnetos, I know about positive ground and all that stuff from the old days, but I don't really see any point in it because our society is decaying at such a rate that eventually everybody's going to have to do what I do. And from what I've seen over the years, having to deal with the public, people ain't ready to do what I do. They aren't ready to think outside the box and re-engineer things along the way just to make it work, just to have it last. They don't know how to think like that. It's a totally foreign concept to them. And the reality of it is, as a country, that's a crying damn shame. Always offend someone.